I noticed that everyone is changing their avatar to Clippy, and it's giving me PTSD. Because I really hate that emoji. Like every single time I wanted to start writing, like that thing popped up, annoyed the living shit out of me, and I had to constantly move the mouse. Like that takes effort, moving the mouse just to close Clippy. And I wanted to get to the bottom of it. It's like, well, who is pushing people to change their avatars into a way that triggers me? And then I found out, and it was an interesting speech given by a fellow content creator, and he said, "Look, Clippy was kind of like the AI of today. He was a lot dumber, wasn't as sophisticated as the modern AIs are, but Clippy actually wanted to help. Like Clippy wouldn't check your emails, Clippy wouldn't look at what's on your computer. If you wanted to write an email, like Clippy was just there and he just wanted to help." And so Clippy was the mindset of Microsoft back then. It was a product for the convenience of the customer. And when you look at what they're doing with Windows 11, you notice why they killed Clippy. See, at first I generally thought that they killed Clippy because it's annoying, but you notice that Microsoft has no problem with annoying people. Like, they're perfectly okay with annoying their customers, but what they're not okay with is being useful to their customers. Like, now they're only caring about how to milk their customers of money, how to enrich themselves with the customer suffering. And a good point was raised on how back in the day, if you saw people with suicidal thoughts on the internet, you notice that most individuals at least try to help. They would try to understand what the person is going through. They would try to help. Nowadays, if they see teenage girls with dark thoughts, and teenage girls are actually the demographic at risk, because like when you see someone with dark thoughts on the internet, it's usually part of that demographic, right? Like young girls between 16 and 22. And when you see them, what corporations do is that they harvest their data using AI in order to try and sell advertisements to them. And so, like, this is the new way, right? And Clippy would never do that. Like, Clippy would never look at your daughter posting her lamentations online in order to try to figure out what better corporations to link her to so that she spends her cash. Clippy was a good boy, right? And so this is why a lot of people are using Clippy as their avatar, because they're against this shit. And all of this shit, I think, can be described in 2 words. Well, actually, 1 word and a number. Windows 11. Like, any person that has actually looked at what Windows 11 does would be horrified. Unironically, if you take Windows 11 and you have a time machine and you send it back to 2016, people in that age, they would say it's spyware. Like, they would say it's a malware, like their antivirus would ding. And we're like, I'm not installing this shit on my computer. And so a lot of people today, they also think we're not installing this shit on our computer. I watched the presentation and the guy there was like very happy to tell me about the new feature, Windows Recall. And usually when you hear about the new feature, you're excited, right? Like, it's how is it going to serve me? Like, what is the benefit? And apparently, like, this feature is going to constantly screenshot your computer. Just like non-stop screenshotting. And I'm like, well, hold on a little bit. So you're telling me that if I have like some personal information on my computer, like a credit card, right? Or I need to dox myself. This is something that British people do as a national holiday, right? I need to dox myself for age verification, and I'm showing them my ID. You're telling me that Windows is screenshotting that? And the answer is yes. Yes, they're screenshotting that. Okay, fascinating, right. So what happens with those screenshots? Well, they get stored. Where? On your device. Is it safe? Well, they say it is. Does it go to Windows? Well, they say they don't. How do I know? Well, trust me, bro. Okay, so like, how trustworthy are you as a company? Well, they're so trustworthy that they're going to stop updating Windows 10 in order to convince people to go to Windows 11. And I'm like, well, did they do this in the past? You know, like when they released Windows XP, did they stop updating the previous versions of Windows? And the answer is yes, but okay, but after a while, right? Like after a while, not like the moment the new thing comes out. Like they had to wait a couple of years until people legitimately stopped using the previous versions and they moved to Windows XP. And so you're like, okay, that's interesting. Why the rush then? You know, if Windows 11 is such a good product, Why don't they wait for people to naturally migrate to Windows 11 first before stopping the updates for Windows 10? So I think like this is the argument. It's not that companies are forced to create patches for their product in perpetuity, because obviously that can't be a realistic thing. Like eventually, every single thing will die off. But are you supposed to at least provide patches and updates for at least like 5 or 6 more years, right? Because we're talking about a company like Microsoft. Like this is not some indie company that has just made their first operating system. That they made Temple OS, and now they don't have the money anymore in order to keep it running. It's like, no, it's a big corporation, and so the fact that they will not provide any more patches unless you pay the money is starting to annoy people, because what they're trying to do, and this is where the industry is going, everything has to be a subscription. Like you just don't own the thing anymore, right? And so even with Windows 10, when you're like having a physical copy of it, you have a USB with Windows 10, they will basically tell you that no, that is going to be useless. What you need to do is to pay us a subscription every single year so that you can benefit for our updates until eventually you will go to Windows 11 and use that so that we can milk you and harvest your data and try to get all the cash we can out of you. And also be a massive privacy risk, and probably work with other institutions like the British government so that we probably get some benefits from them as well while they get to spy on your computer. And so, I can see why people are upset. And the fact that finally a California man has decided to sue them, so like someone that has studio rounds to rub together and the money to do it, goes by the name of Lawrence Klein, based in California, and according to the courthouse rules, he owns 2 Windows 10 laptops, both of which will become obsolete in October. He asserts that Microsoft is making this move to force its customers to purchase new devices optimized to run Microsoft. That's also interesting, right? Because like people are also wondering, okay, well, we're going to have a lawsuit, and the lawsuit is going to have a discovery phase, and we want to see if the hardware manufacturers don't have like backroom deals with you. Because if they do, that may be also a conflict of interest, right? The thing with Windows 10 is that you can run it on most computers, but Windows 11 you can't. So people that are now going to have to update, and you may say, well, like what type of person doesn't have a modern computer? Well, there's a lot of companies that don't, right? Because you gotta understand, like if you have a business, you're not interested in having like the state-of-the-art gaming PC. Let's say you have a call center, like you're interested in having computers that work and do the job required. No more nor less. And so if you have to change like 100 PCs in order to update them so they fit Windows 11, that's a huge investment. That isn't needed. Like it's not required. It's not because the market is demanding, it's because like the company is forcing you to. Like when they released Windows 10, had they said, oh yeah, by the way, like at some point we're going to make Windows 11 and we're going to charge you money to keep Windows 10, maybe a lot of people wouldn't have bought Windows 10. Like that's what people are upset. It's like changing the terms after you purchase the product. Clippy wouldn't do that. He would never. Upgrading to Windows 11 from Windows 10 is currently free, but millions of devices are barred from doing this. Microsoft states that this is a non-negotiable requirement for all future Windows versions, so devices do not have these installed aren't eligible for upgrade. You can bypass this requirement, but doing so means your computer is not officially supported. Yeah, I hope he wins. I don't know what will happen, but I hope that the judges have the same level of disdain and the same level of distaste toward Microsoft that the general population does. And so I hope that he manages to win in court. Would be great. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you on my live stream. There's a link to that and to the pinned comment. Take care.